there, welcome to this episode of Experts on Purpose. The special guest we have today is Theresa. Liz helps entrepreneurs find clarity and market themselves online with confidence. She's been in business for more than a decade, creating powerful, high converting websites, memorable brands, and coaching business owners on how they can be more visible online. She wants every entrepreneur to rise and be the star of their own business. Hey, Liz, welcome to Experts on Purpose.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm wicked excited to be here.
Thank you for coming on the show, Liz. So I have been following you, I know you, but I really am curious to know how it all began. Like, when did you decide that websites, branding, visibility, that's your jam? When did that moment happen? What were you doing before that?
Oh, it's funny. So I my background is actually in English and theater arts, and I didn't study business at all, and I didn't study technology. I made websites for fun for years when I was a kid, like age 12, 13, 14, doing that for fun. I mean, I can't help but be like, when MySpace was cool, I had a cool MySpace. Like, I knew how to do things that were technical always, right?
Okay.
And then it was like, but I was always a creative. And so then I never knew how that was going to actually come together until I graduated. I got my master's in English. And the only reason why I got a master's is because I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I didn't want to teach with an English or theater degree. I didn't want to get another degree that was an escalated degree in theater, because I was like, I don't want to be a professor. I would want to be an actor, maybe. But like, I don't know if I want to be an actor because I didn't like being told what to do. So like, it was like this thing where I was like, I don't know how I'm going to fit into the world. And I remember getting my master's, and the economy was like absolute garbage. And my parents owned a business at the time. They owned a business. My dad he would make helmets, like diving helmets for people to go underwater with. Like they're like 85 pounds. So like, he was like a metal guy, like knew how to do all welding and things. And then my mom was like the salesperson, but like their business was struggling, and they were like, Liz, you're smart. Help us with marketing. And I was like, I remember Googling what is marketing. Like, I remember that moment, because I was like, isn't it just like Avon? And when I buy lipstick, my friend gets commission. Like, I was like, I don't understand. Why would people choose to do this? Like, I didn't understand. I was like, what is this? And then I realized, oh my gosh, no, marketing is really just where creativity unifies with money. And like, sales is similar in that way too, but it's where like somebody like me can actually be really powerful and useful, especially because I'm not daunted by technology. And when I had that moment where I was like, oh wait, I make websites for fun. And websites are, of course, if your website is good, then your marketing is good and your PR works. Like all these other things, really, your branding and your website, it's like the bed of a business, right?
Right. It's the foundation.
And like, yeah. And then if people are like, I don't need a website, and you're like, okay, let's see how that's going to work. You're going to have a very hard time. But if you have something that's like your lead converter, 24/7 salesperson, if you will, why wouldn't you want? Of course you want that.
Yeah. So in your initial days, Liz, were you doing it for others, or were you doing it just for yourself for fun?
When I made websites for fun, it was definitely for fun. Like for my favorite I made a SpongeBob website. I don't think it's still there, but it existed, and I had a sponsor. Like, I had a sponsorship. So like, it was, people liked it. It was cool.
Right. So when did you actually start making it for others, after you tried it on your parents' business?
Yeah. So, well, with my parents, I was actually helping them with social media marketing. And then I was realizing that marketing is only as effective as your website. So then I was like, well, we have to fix the website. Because I was like, I'm driving all this traffic. It's not doing anything. What am I doing? Right. Like, that's like, if you're doing that as a business owner, that means the website is sick. So like, take it to the website doctor. It's probably a business. It's not mine though. Don't take it to him. Take it to me. And so, but it was after helping them that I was like, oh my gosh. And then I started helping like, local clients. And I remember talking to my mom because I couldn't get a friggin' job to save myself. And I said, like, I just want to help businesses with their websites and their marketing. And she was like, Liz, you don't need permission. Go help them. They're there.
Yeah.
They're just go do it. And I was like, okay. So then I did. And I just started introducing myself,
That's so cool, because what I can understand is it started out as a fun thing for you, just like a side hobby. But then when you found that you were actually helping people like your parents, you saw that this can be a serious business. So you initially started helping local businesses, right? So were they your first set of clients?
Yeah. And in fact, I was actually originally an insurance agent. So while I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I got my agency license because I was working there since I was 17 and I love them.
Uh-huh.
Like they're my clients now. Like we're still tight. Right. But and so I started in that office building by talking to the people that like rented space there. And then I helped them. And then I was like, okay, then I heard about networking events. Then I like went to network and I was like, I'm Liz and I can do this for you. I wasn't Liz Theresa then.
Uh-huh.
Liz Theresa is my middle name in real life. So
Uh-huh.
but I go, but it's my professional name and whatever. But like back then I was Liz Downey. And but it was like, if you go to Liz, I don't think lizdowney.com is still a thing, but it was like, it's so different because I just didn't know my own branding yet. But I just knew if I could just talk to somebody, I could convince them I was great.
Right.
But you want your website to do that.
Exactly. So at that time, your purpose was very simple, right? You just wanted some cash flow coming in. You didn't have a regular job and you knew that you had your talent in web designing and you started out. So compared to those days, how has your mission evolved?
Well, it's funny. I mean, I definitely was in it for the cash. I wasn't I mean, I like helping people. Now I'm in it for helping people. And I realized that like, I am making a difference in the world. And I never was. And I think when you're in your 20s, you're way too self-absorbed to realize that that's great because you're so like, I want to have fun. Like you don't really care. And you do, but like, not really. And then it's like, I would say as I've matured and gone into my 30s and like had life experiences, like I was divorced and then I remarried and now I had a baby with my new husband, not my old husband. We don't talk about him or like him. I talk about him, but we don't connect. And so like, I've had all these life experiences that I think that really matures you and it makes you think about your why and your why. It used to be about buying iPads or the next iPhone or designer jeans. And now it's like, well, because I want to have a really baller 401k and I like having big piles of money sitting around the house. And I like this, like I want security for my family and I want to make a difference in the world. So it's not just about me anymore, I guess.
Yeah,
I think that changes as you get older. Yeah.
Yeah. So has your clientele also evolved compared to the local businesses? I know that you work with clients from across the globe. So currently, what are the type of people you help?
Oh, yeah. Well, definitely experts, authors, and coaches, personal brands are that's like my number one. And I would say spread across industries from health and wellness, personal finance, leadership development, fashion, beauty influencers. So like all of the people, if you are, everybody has a personal brand. It's just about like whether you're going to notice that you do.
Yeah.
But it was definitely more of the small business owners in the beginning. I still love working with small businesses. Like I have small business clients, but a lot of my clients are sort of stepping out from the shadows of their own business sometimes too. Yeah. Like you might have a business, but maybe you're like behind the curtain and it's like, come on, you can do it. Boop, boop. Then I like push them onto the stage, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
So to attract these kind of wonderful clients, I'm sure you don't go to these in-person networking events these days, especially after the COVID thing. So how has your marketing changed? Like what are your go-to marketing strategies right now to attract these ideal clients for your business?
Oh, good question. I think one of my best things I do that kind of naturally attracts them. Well, I mean, obviously referrals, like I work with somebody and they're like, oh, she looks cool and you did it. But I also think it's like, I have to look cool because then like will attract like, right? So if I look like the kind of person that I want to work with, I will attract more of those people. It's a little bit like that. Yeah. So I am a personal brand-based business as well. I think that's part of it. And I also think like having a really clear message in my business and your message, this is the thing that people always, I mean, you help people with this, but it's something that people don't realize is a living document. So my message of my business when I started is very different than it is now. I'm much more specific. I help you rise and be the star of your business, right? And so I'm loud and proud about that.
Yeah.
And so I think we all need to let our freak flags fly about what our message is. Cause I think sometimes people will be like, oh, sure, it's there. And it's like in size 14, 12 font, like little font. And you're like, there's my message. And I'm like, that should be
Yeah,
on the
loud
banner,
and
right?
proud. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because then because if people know what you're about, they know how you fit into their world, you know?
So one of your number one strategies is the referrals, the people who work with you, love you, and they send more clients to you. Are there any other ways to get in front of new people who have never heard about you?
Oh yeah, podcasting. For me, it's been podcasting. The Lism Biz podcast, which you were an amazing guest, has been going since 2016.
Right.
Weekly show every Monday. And what's funny is I think, like, although for me the answer is podcasting, I think the universal answer is that you need to find your medium. So like clearly I can talk, but like for other people, it might be like, I really prefer to write. I really like video, whatever it is. Find your medium and then build a schedule around it. So podcasting for me, I'm kind of a Phoebe from Friends. Like I'm a little flaky with like, I do my work for my clients, but like, I don't like being consistent, but having a show schedule has I'm now consistently doing content. I was never a consistent blogger, but it's a combination of like a schedule plus a medium that you're comfortable with, you know? It shouldn't be
such good advice. Yeah, exactly. It shouldn't be like another big task.
No, you should kind of look forward to it.
Yeah.
You know?
And from your experience, Liz, have the listeners become your clients or have the guests become your clients from your show?
Both, definitely, which is funny.
Yeah.
Because I interview a lot of people that are in my demographic. So that like happens naturally.
Yeah.
And I would say too, though, like as you're producing content for your own show, that is how you get found by other listeners. And also making sure that like in your, like whatever you're producing, whether it's a podcast or video series or whatever, advertise your funnel. So like, I also do that. So like at the beginning of my show, aside from my very fun intro, which I love, I do say like, oh, do you want to get more clients? It starts with using better words in your website. And then I tell people to download my free copy class is the thing that I do. And it's just a 10-second ad spot. But like wherever you're driving the people, always tell them to do something. Like in marketing, sometimes we miss the then what. Like I'm doing this, then what? That's then what? You want money. Give me all your money. It's a stick up.
So Liz, you've been doing websites for years now. So I'm sure the initial websites that you did don't look as great as the websites you do now, right? So what
That's
has
probably
changed?
True.
I'm sure that's true for all entrepreneurs. Our work was not as fantastic as what it is now when we started it. And I'm sure 10 years later, it's just going to be better. So what are some of the things you did, like to invest in yourself to become a better designer, a better entrepreneur?
I think it's investing in your own self-improvement, hiring coaches, bettering your own education, staying on top of your own industry news, rather than looking at what Theresa is doing, right? My competitor. That would be like my alter evil ego. Theresa would be like bad Liz. But I think by keeping on top of what's actually changing in websites and investing in my team, like I spend so much money on my team. Like I reinvest so much by hiring really wonderful, amazing all-stars that are not like me. So by hiring people that are not like you, by the way, because if you hire you, you're just gonna get a bunch of Liz's.
Exactly.
They're gonna be like, hey guys, what's going on all the time? And be like, it's torture.
You don't want another you in your business, right?
There's a reason that you're you and you're the visionary. You're the one that has the ship, right? You want to invest in your people, and that will help you. That will help you grow and be better at your craft and better at your field. Because in websites, right? There's web development, web design, graphic design, branding, copy. There's like all these, that's actually a whole hand of things, right? 5 things. And I'm capable of all 5 things, but I am not stellar at all 5 things. I would say I'm incredible. I was the best developer I knew. And people would always send people to me because I was great at development, but I'm excellent at design and copy. Like excellent. That's my genius, right?
Right.
And then I hire a developer that like all he does, like he wears WordPress shirts, like he loves WordPress, like, and he and I are like this, we could finish each other's sentence. He's not here, but he would say sentences.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
One thing I've noticed about experts, Liz, is they know they're really good at something and they believe that nobody else can do it as good as them. And that stops them from growing their business by hiring other team members who can, support them. So at what point did you realize that you can't do everything on your own? And who were the first few people you had in your team who helped you to just scale up your business?
This is like, I just love you for asking this because I'm like, I know so many people that are like, but I'm irreplaceable, da, 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 that Beyonce song. But no, people think that it's the biggest lie you're telling yourself. And in fact, like, that is how is that lie working for you? Like, how is this working for you? Clearly something's not working, right? Because you can't be everywhere and do everything. You can't, it's not the movie Multiplicity where the guy clones himself 100 times and does all these different things all day. It's just not the way life really, really is. And so like, you have to like have a come to Jesus a little bit about being like, okay, what is my true zone of excellence? And then where am I just good, great, and excellent? You're going to have in your own business, you have things where you're like, and I mean, for me, accounting, I was good. Who would like that? Who wants invoices? Gross. So no one wants that. So think about those places, have a really good, honest conversation. And for me, my moment came, I remember I had to go live on a website. Like I had to take somebody's sales page live. They were like, oh, we're doing a midnight launch. Also, never do midnight launches. Dumb. No one's awake. What are you doing? So like I was up. I was beside myself. So I'm like setting my clock, right? I have to get up at 11:45 to go downstairs to press publish on the sales page because like I didn't know how to automate going live at midnight. And I was like, I'm not going to learn that for this one jerk, right? And then as I'm going down the stairs, I'm like, well, one, this is a problem. I don't want to create a life where I'm going down the stairs at 11:45. And two, like I should have somebody that either knows how to go live at midnight, or like, and they're doing it. And then three, I also learned we're never doing midnight launches again. So we never do midnight launches and we never launch on a federal holiday, just in case anyone is confused. Terrible days to launch or do any campaigns. It's very dumb, very gimmicky.
Yeah.
Slap.
Such good learnings from that one horrible experience.
Oh my gosh. And it was really the next day. I got to tell you, that was when I hired somebody, because that was when I hired Zach the next day. And that's my developer now. So that was 2015. And I had VAs, right? But like, this is where I handed over it's going to feel like you're giving away, an important
responsibility.
Yeah. But like, you know what, when you find the right person, you got to do it. And sometimes if you don't know it's the right person, you have to take the risk because how else will you grow? You won't, you just won't.
Yeah. So for the listeners who are thinking, I know I'm an expert. I have a few clients, but I don't have a website yet because I'm fine with just my Instagram page. What do you have to tell them?
Well, first, is my first answer. My second answer is come on. Everyone has a website. You goof troop. You can't control when Instagram's down, for instance. You also can't control how well Instagram is going to convert people into customers. And Instagram is shiny object syndrome. I could be on your Instagram page and then I could be like, ooh, a puppy. I'm going to search for golden retriever puppies because I like puppies. And then you've lost me, you dummy. So while insulting you, I'm like an abusive boyfriend, but I'm like now insulting you and telling you to hire somebody, even if it's not me, because I'll be like, Liz is mean, but hire somebody to create, because you need a foundation. It's your foundation.
And the ideal time is before you launch the business, right?
Yeah. Well, before you launch the business, you need a way to capture leads and build hype and do things like that and capture your audience. Like you should be engaging your audience. And like an Instagram is not enough, or a Facebook page, whatever. It's not enough to build an email list. It's just not.
So true. Yeah. So you are also so good at copy, and you talk about that in all your, interviews and your trainings. So what are some of your tips to write great copy for a website?
Oh, this is so good. Well, I do have the free copy video if they want it. It's a freecopyvideo.com, but I'm going to give you some of the ones that I think are really, really important. In fact, like, don't talk big. So like, don't be all like we when it's just you. So like be I. Own your I. It's going to be much stronger copy. Watch out for words with 1,000 syllables. So you want to be able to read your own copy back to yourself. I always have people read out loud what they write for their website or sales page or whatever. And if you read it and you're like you're stumbling, that means that it's not good copy.
Yeah,
That means that when people read it, they're going to go trip over their own words. So it's a combination of not sounding big, using easy words. Oh, and conjunctions are your friend. That's another thing I love to tell people is that conjunctions are your friend. Like instead of you cannot miss this guide that you could buy right here, right now, it's you can't miss this. What are we doing? It's so formal. So conjunctions will always smooth your writing for copy.
Right.
Embrace that. Yeah. And it's supposed to sound copy for every business, personal brand or corporate, even it should always sound like a person that is actually talking. Because if it doesn't, it's going to be like reading an encyclopedia. It'll be bad. Very bad.
Those are such good tips. So even if a person works with another copywriter to write their copy, it should have some elements of their personal way of speaking, right?
Yes. Oh, and you get this more than anybody just based on your process in your business, right? Where you listen to people and that's how you help them produce content. And it's, that's how I do it too. Like I have to listen to my client to make sure I don't sound like Liz and that way I sound like them. And it's crazy because like, I was looking at somebody's website the other day, they wanted my feedback and I looked at it and she was like, well, I hired a copywriter. So like, if you hate it, we get to yell at her. And I was like, oh my God, don't yell at anybody. One, don't yell at anyone. Two, I had tips, but what was funny is I was like, this copywriter definitely didn't talk to this person because it didn't sound the same.
Right.
And I'm like, not all copywriters listen. So like, if you are going to hire for copy, it has to be somebody that's going to be willing to listen to you. And in fact, I did tell somebody once because they didn't feel comfortable writing something for their own website and they didn't want to hire a copywriter. I was like, record yourself talking, because if you record yourself talking, it's going to be similar to the experience that I have when I listen and I write. Similar. Yeah.
Such good advice on the kind of copywriter you should hire. Talking about the website designer, how do you know, if the website designer is as amazing as Liz or they're not the right hire?
Oh, great question. Yeah, definitely talk to their clients. Always talk to their clients and look at their clients' websites and find where you have a problem. Not to say everything I've created is perfect, but websites that I create will have fewer issues. And they grow with people as they go on and do other things. They like whether they're working with me or not, they can have this thing that we made for them. Right. And so, but I think if you talk to their clients, that's foolproof, aside from just because a portfolio is not enough. You want to hear what they're like as a person, because a website is like, it's an undertaking, I mean, some of my clients stay like forever in the website process because they'll be like, I'm going into like, I don't know. They'll be like going on a 3-month vacation. Like entrepreneurs are like that, right? So they'll be like, bye. And then they'll come back and we'll do stuff. And I'm way too nice about this, by the way, but it happens semi-frequently. So it's about building a relationship. You want somebody that you're going to jive with.
Exactly. So I think looking at a designer's portfolio is like, their performance on stage, you can see it. But talking to their clients is like the behind the scenes and the real stuff.
Yeah, because you know what? It's so easy to find a good designer, but it's not easy to find a good designer and developer. So like not all designers are developers. Like we build everything that I design.
Can you actually differentiate, explain the difference? Because a lot of people may not know the difference.
Yeah, you're so right. So a website designer, guys, this is what I do as a designer is I listen to your goals for the website. I'm also a copywriter, so I'm helping you produce the copy. And then we write it and then I design it in Photoshop. I'm drawing it like and building it right then and there. Like, and I'm sending you a mock-up. So I'm custom designing you a website.
Right.
Some designers will be like, I'm picking a theme and slapping a logo at the top, and then they hand you a physically built website, but that's not, I hate to say it, that's not real website design. True website design is what I do. I'm actually drawing it for you.
Mhm.
And then when you sign off, we develop it, which means I hand it to my website developer, and he will take the designed concept, right? This layered file, this design file I hand him that
Right.
you've looked at, and then he physically builds it in WordPress. So this is where you think of coding
Yeah.
and things like that. So up until development, I don't touch technology aside from drawing it. So I'm just designing it in the strictest sense of like drawing a doodle,
Mm.
right? And handing it to somebody. And then he's the one who's like, okay, how do I build this in a way that, like, developers have to take a lot into account. I'm way picky on developers because I do think it's easier to find a good designer, but to find a good designer that has a developer in-house, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
harder. Like I do, but like a lot of designers are like trying to make things themselves. That's why Squarespace has become so popular, because they don't have to custom design and they can just slap together a website. Well slapped, you slap it nicely, but it's still slapped, guys. Like your
Yeah.
true development, WordPress development, it's like an art form, because he has to take into like account the nuances of like building for page speed, building for user experience of the client, because when we build things, we also make it easy for clients to edit. I don't use Divi or Elementor or anything, and those are icky. If you use them, you're stuck with it. Sorry.
Yeah.
The person that you hired liked it, but like I use even easier than that, and I won't reveal all my trade secrets now, but I use a really easy plugin for you to edit your own pages that's lightweight, that your website's always on slim fast, which means it loads and renders quickly. I know this is interesting, right? And then it's also search optimized, because we do on-site optimization, which means like the way that it's sort of like if you were going to go buy like a hybrid or like a really nice car, right? Versus buying a used car, the way that they make them now is better. And so we're like super nerdy about staying on top of what best practices are in 2021,
Yeah.
2022, and we look into the future, whereas other people will be like, oh, it works if we do it this way. But like, I don't want to give you functional, I want to give you fly and functional. I want to give you something that's like gonna work, you know what I mean? That I'm
Exactly.
thinking ahead for you. Yeah, because websites, truthfully, you asked me what my first ones were like, they are like cars. They follow trends, right? There's different ways to optimize and fuel and da-da-da-da-da. It's a very good metaphor for understanding what we do, because we build people cars, kind of, but technologically speaking. But yeah, so development, guys, is the building. But I want you to know that there's, when it comes to hiring a developer, there's nuances.
Yeah.
That, I mean, there's things to consider everywhere. It's great, but I mean, if you're going to hire a website designer, hire one that has an in-house developer.
Thanks for giving
Definitely.
us clarity, Liz, because I see.
Thanks for wanting to know. My God, I never get to talk about that.
This is so important, because I see a lot of experts. They could probably come to me for writing a book, or they may be looking out for a website designer. Some of them have this concept of, can I try to do this myself? Can I just go and take a course on Udemy on how to build a website? Can I just watch a YouTube video on how to do the interior design for my book? And they try to do it themselves. And you know how the outcome is going to look like, because there is so much of nitty gritties and artistic stuff and technical stuff involved in what you do, and that cannot be developed in a month's time by just watching a Udemy course. I feel that people who are committed to quality and who really value their personal brand will not try to do this themselves, because it's not their zone of genius, right?
Oh my gosh, well said. And I mean, like, I see the commercials too, where GoDaddy will be like, or Squarespace is like, just launch your business, guys. Like, it's so sexy to launch your business. And I'm like, okay, anytime I've seen a client that just goes and uses a theme, they always come back to me and they'll be like, oh, like, now I want to talk to you because I realized it's not that easy as the commercial showed me. And I'm like, wow, marketing lied to you. Shocking. No, marketing shouldn't lie, guys. But I really truly feel, although Squarespace is, and I recommend for DIYers, I do send them to Squarespace, because you're not going to break your website by accident. You have a number to call if you did. So
Right.
that's why I recommend people to Squarespace, but for DIY.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate what you said. And in fact, like I do remind people, I'm like, this is like, it's my life's work is making these. They're not, that doesn't mean that you can like take a 10-minute class and know how to do it as well as me. Because that would be awful. If that were true, you guys, I'm in the wrong
Seriously.
probably.
Yeah, I'm sure there is this one other problem that a lot of experts who are newly launching their business may face. They know that they're really good at something because they've got results for themselves and a few clients. But when they probably are talking to prospective clients, they do a lot of window shopping before talking to this expert. They get the quotes from 5 different companies before talking to them. And you may not be the cheapest in the market, but you know that what you're offering is like super premium and valuable. So how do you deal with a client, a prospective client who is comparing your rates with somebody else who's charging less than half of what you charge?
Oh, I usually say, like, I actually think I have an email in my inbox from somebody they just hired me, honestly, like a month and a half ago. But like originally they were like, oh, I talked to somebody and it was $1,000 cheaper, but you seem like you've been doing this a really long time and you have a lot more of a portfolio. And I said, well, there it is. I think it's just like, I think it's always you get what you pay for. It's very, very hard to find a diamond in the rough as far as like, if you want to find the scrappy entrepreneur person that's like a scrappy Liz, they might exist, but like, I think when you're the business owner, always stand by your quote. I mean, you're going to have people that will tell you you're too cheap. And then you're going to have people that will tell you you're too expensive, no matter what your pricing is. I mean, like right now I'm pretty happy with my pricing. But like, I mean, like I got told the other day, oh, that should be $2,000 more. And then the same day somebody was like, I can't do that. And then it's like, that will happen, And I think if your branding does the work for you and showing that you're a luxury thing, you're a luxury entity. And my brand does that. So I don't get a ton of these, but I get some of them because it's just going to happen. That does some of the work for you. So like you have some control over setting expectations. Cause like if you go into Nordstrom, a t-shirt is going to be $36 or $48 for no reason. But if you go into Walmart, it's going to be $4. But that walking in, like you don't want to be entrepreneurs that launch businesses. You don't want to be the price shop like place. You don't want to. The competition is unbelievable and you don't want to compete on price. You're competing on quality of service every time, no matter what you sell. Yeah.
Such valuable stuff. I got 2 lessons from what you just mentioned, Liz. One is stand by your price because you deserve it. Just because somebody is showing you a cheaper quote, you don't have to lower your price. Just believe in your worth. And also the second thing is work on your branding so that speaks for how premium you are. You don't have to speak. Your website should speak for itself.
Yes. And also like have the swagger, have the confidence. It's like it's standing by your price, right? But it's also like, it's standing by your investment. You're in like when people, I posted a quote once and it resonated with some people. And I said, when people hire me, I don't say thank you. I say, you're welcome. Because I know I'm gonna rock their friggin' world. And if you have that, and it's true, and I do, and if you have that mentality about whatever it is you might offer somebody, like your book or your service or coaching program, if you know that their life is gonna change, you remember that right before you get on a call, you will be hyped and you'll be like, dude, don't be a dummy. Like you called me. Yeah. The prospect is calling you for help and be like, you will thank me later. Like for fixing whatever it is that you may fix about something. Yeah.
Cool. That's amazing, Liz. So what would be your final word of advice for somebody who is an expert, but is really not capitalizing on it and not really making a big impact, but they know they should. So what would be your word of advice?
That marketing and visibility is a service. It's an extension of like the book. It's an extension of your services. It's just another service that you provide because not showing up, right, is a disservice to people that could have otherwise found you. And you're limiting your own impact by not doing that. So smack,
right.
go show up.
Showing up is such an important thing. And what would be some of your, you already mentioned your podcast. So what are some of the other ways where you make sure that you consistently show up?
Facebook groups. I'm very popular in certain groups. And so I'm all about that. I definitely show up on Instagram all the time, but for things I can be consistent with, I try to like set bars, right? So like every day I do Facebook group engagement, which means I have certain groups where like I'm friendly with, I just become friendly with people. They don't know I'm friendly until they're like, oh, there she is, right? And so like be known, and then because that's just one way of people seeing your name over and over again.
Yeah.
So then because group engagement is the way to go on Facebook. Facebook groups are kind of the thing on Facebook that's working. And then on Instagram, I'm consistently visible because that Instagram is a great place to get found and engage with people that already like you.
Yeah.
And then PR kind of stuff. So podcasting, shows like this.
Fantastic, Liz. Thank you so much for dropping so many value bombs today. Where can people go and check out your work and probably speak to you to get their websites done?
Oh, LizTheresa.com, LizTheresa. If you're driving, pull over before you Google it. and I'm Liz on Biz, streaming wherever you podcast, and at Liz Theresa on Instagram or anywhere. And you can say hi.
We'll have all the links down in the show notes. Thank you so much, Liz, once again for coming on the show.
Thank you.